Welcome back. This is Billy with Coach Dooley's List, and today I'm here once again at Gainesville High School, and we are today with Coach Chan Brown, the baseball coach. And Coach,
appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you having me.
Long-time friend right here, the man.
Well, I appreciate you, and once again, my closet is getting stocked. And again, in the spirit of John Gruden, thank you. This shows me you've been watching the videos, and I appreciate it because I'm running out of clothes, but not now.
I hear you, brother.
Well, thank you. So, jump right into it. I always ask start by asking, just tell everybody a little bit about your coaching journey, how you ended up here at Gainesville.
All right. I did some volunteer coaching at Tucker. That's where I graduated high school, and under a guy named Mike Fallour for football and David Roman for baseball. David Roman's actually is the reason why I am in this profession, to be honest with you. He was my high school baseball coach, and we lived in the same neighborhood growing up, and he used to pick on me and everything else, but he's the reason. He was kind of my inspiration that I'm even sitting here today, to be honest with you. And so started there, and then Coach Fallour went to Burke County in Waynesboro, Georgia. Mm-hmm. So that was my first teaching job. Did middle school PE there for 1 year, and that was quite a journey there with middle school PE, and learned a lot there for that. But Waynesboro, we did football and baseball there, and then he took the Elbert County job, and I was actually going to go back to Tucker, and then the baseball job came open. I interviewed at Elbert. That was my first head job, and then from Elbert went to Parkview, and was there for 22 years. Obviously, that's my longest stint so far, and decided it was time to change for my family and myself, and I needed something different. And so had about 7 phone calls 2 summers ago, and interviewed and looked at a couple different places, and Gainesville called, and my family kind of fell in love with this place. And my youngest son, Beckett Brown, is with me here, so that's kind of brought us to Gainesville. And Cade was at Georgia, now he's at Georgia Tech, but at the time when he was at Georgia, that was putting us closer to there to watch him play. And so kind of brought us to Gainesville, and it's been Gainesville's a great place. Obviously, the facilities and the people bring you here, and just the community. So we're excited to be here.
It is incredible out here. I've never got to see everything. I got a little tour earlier, and I actually kind of had to think twice. You said 22 years at Parkview, because I remember when I was at Collins Hill and you got to Parkview, and I did not think it was that long ago.
Yeah, I was there for a long time, man. You look back on the memories there, but it was a fun ride for sure. And I'll always have a section of me that bleeds orange and loves the Panther Nation, and left that program in good hands with David Reynolds, and excited to see what he does with it. And wish him nothing but the best.
No, and I love it. A lot of good people there, a lot of good people here, and I'm excited to see what you're going to do here, putting your stamp on things. And starting off, like you said, out in Tucker, going down to Burke County, Elbert County, and then to Parkview. You obviously have built a program before, continued a great program. So, now in trying to make the G stand for what you want it to stand for as far as Gainesville baseball, what do you want people to know Gainesville baseball for?
The biggest thing I think coming in here, Gainesville's had a long tradition of baseball for a good many years, especially under Coach Vickery. And I talked to him about it, and we're trying to get back to that point. It's lost its luster, to be honest with you. And so we're having to revamp the program from the bottom up. And when I say the bottom, that's middle school ages, that's even the travel ball system, all the way up to high school. And, the biggest thing for me, I want people to represent the G, but I want them to be proud of Gainesville baseball. Right. And, that's a big goal for me to put a stamp on here on the community, that when they come to a baseball game, they're happy to be there. They're proud to be there. But more than that, I want the community to understand that our kids are going to do what's right on and off the field. On the field, the biggest compliment that you can give is when after the game, win or lose, you shake hands, and that other coach said, "Man, your kids play the right way." And so that's a goal. And we're having to revamp the mentality. That mentality, honestly, is starting in the weight room from a work ethic standpoint. And so those things. Last year we had a kid gain 24 pounds in the weight room because they never really lifted here very much. And, we got such a nice weight room and full-time weight guys over there. they do a great job for us. So that kind of started the mentality. Last year went 1-10, wasn't used to that. And then we went 10-1, and then we went 0-7. We had 7 kids getting the flu during the playoffs and everything else. So it was kind of a crazy situation, but I think we took a step last year, but you can already tell a different mentality in the kids from this year. And we only had 2 seniors last year, and they didn't play a whole lot, and they were told their legacy was going to be leadership. And so pretty much have the whole team and a good group coming. So we're looking forward to the future here, and just trying to build it every single day.
I love it. And, again, going back to, building this program and all the success you've had in other places, you've got a lot of stories. I know you've worked with national teams and had some guys that you see on TV all the time, won several state championships. But what's one of your favorite coaches' stories? And, again, it could be makes you laugh, makes you smile. What's one of the things you always
I think I'll go in 2 different ways here. When I got to Parkview, obviously I took over for a legend in Hugh Buchanan. Made it to the semifinals my first year, and then we went through a little bit of a lull, second and third round, and because I think I was trying to be Coach Buchanan instead of Chan Brown. And I learned a ton from him, but in the same sentence, I had to be myself. And when that happened, that's when we kind of took off again and started on the run of winning some state championships and national championships and, playing national tournaments everywhere. Fortunate enough to have 17 kids drafted out of there. And so, and through that run, worked for USA Baseball. The story I'm going to get to, probably the craziest thing is, playing in Columbia, South America, in front of 10,000 people. And you got armed machine guns on top of the dugouts and things like that. So, through the process of my career, I've been put in different situations that I've learned from. And, and then the other thing is, I think the biggest thing you can learn from is the kids. One thing we started at Parkview is we started having a lot of special ed kids be managers. And I probably learned more doing that than I did as a coach sometimes, because it brought back the relationship side of it, not just for me, but also for the players with these kids that helped us. And so that was a cool moment also for us, but, obviously I get asked a lot of the 6 state championship, what's the best team? They're all the best team. We were fortunate. There's something in the water at Parkview High School with baseball, and, those memories. But 2011 was obviously pretty cool, winning my first state championship. And then the first year that we went to Truist, winning it, that was a pretty cool moment also.
Yeah, a lot of good players, a lot of good times. And this is something, I don't know if I ever told you this. We used to talk about this because we had a game when I was at Collins Hill, and we were actually beating, it was Coach Buck's last year. We were winning 7-1. And the kids were like, we're got a chance to win. And then little things started happening. You're like, eh. And we ended up, the wheels came off. You ended up beating us. And ever since then, I always termed it was the Parkview mystique. The other people seeing what it is, and, just having that, because knowing what y'all were about and everything. And I used that with my softball team for several years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing from Coach Buchanan that I learned is about the little things. We just work fundamentals on top of fundamentals. And so I think the preparation part of that, of taking care of the little things all the time, as a coach is a huge thing that you need to do no matter what sport it is. And because eventually they are going to rely on that when the pressure hits, and as long as you work on it, and for us, we always try to make practice so hard that the games are easy. And we talk about speed of the game, and that's the biggest thing that we work on.
Oh yeah, you replicate whatever you can, and going back, talking about your first couple of years, trying to make sure it's your program, not trying to be like somebody else, and all that you've learned now. So if one of your assistant coaches or maybe a player, somebody comes to you and says, "Coach Brown, I want to be a head coach one day," what advice would you give them?
Well, I think first of all, you got to be yourself. I think you can learn from everybody around you, but you got to take bits and pieces from different mentors that you had and put it into your model. And it took me a second to do that, even from my days at Albert. 4 years of a head coach at Albert, I learned from those a lot because I was young and dumb, to be honest with you. So I took those, and then things that I learned with Coach Buchanan, and just honestly, Chief over Roy Massey. That was a huge factor in my life of baseball and on and off the field. But the other thing is surround yourself with the right people.
Right.
The other thing, when you surround yourself with the right people, let them coach. All right. I'm not a micromanager. I hire guys and say, let's go. All right. We're going to meet before the season. This is what my expectation is. This, that, whatever. If I see something going on that I don't personally like or something like that, then, we'll discuss it at a later time. But, and just be where your feet are. Like I said, my years at Parkview, I got phone calls to go to college, this, that, whatever. But that's where I needed to be.
Right.
And so make sure your heart's there, make sure your feet's there. Make sure if you have a family, make sure they're ingrained in it. Both my boys were in the dugout at a week old, basically, and so they grew up there. My wife was our biggest fan. And the other thing is, I would tell young coaches that when you become a head coach, make sure that you have that family atmosphere with your coaching staff as much as possible.
Right.
Have them over, after games. Make sure all the families are in the dugouts together, because at the end of the day, that is your backbone. And I wouldn't be where I am without my wife. And she's always been the backbone. She's always been the sounding board. No matter what it was, and the good times and bad times, And she's also been the one that has yanked me a couple of times, like, "Hey, get out of your funk and let's go," And so, I think the family part of it is huge. But more than anything, like I said, just be you and be genuine, and just have heart and passion and love on the kids. You can be hard as you want on kids, but you got to love on them also.
For sure. No, and so, and that's all great advice. And again, a lot of this is my goal is to try to help younger coaches. It is very difficult nowadays. And so anything I can do to help them, make them save a little time, that actually comes in where the website come in. The big idea behind Coach Dooley's list is to try to connect trusted vendors with coaches. And so, if a coach called you and said, "Hey, I need this, that, or the other," who's some of your favorite vendors that you would shout out?
Damon Gobert at Shuma is, obviously he played at Parkview under Coach Buck, and him and I obviously have formed a relationship that we're best friends per se, but his quality of customer service and everything else is the best there is.
He's the man.
And so at one point in time, Parkview was trying to go BSN, and they tried to talk me into it. And I said, I had one meeting. I said, "Hey, here's the one question. All I need, third round of playoffs, my 3-hole bat breaks at 2:00, hitting BP. Can you get me a bat by 4?" And the BSN guy said no. And I said, "Damon, can you?" He said, "Yep." And I said, "Well, that's why I'm staying with Damon."
Yeah.
And so, Mickey McMurtry and his ground screw stuff and all that, I felt like, he was always on point with that. And the man right here with online, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a favorite of online until we did it, and it's one of the easiest type fundraisers, and he makes it even easier. And that's the other thing, is like, find fundraisers that work.
Yeah.
Don't find them and keep them, because if people know what time of year they are, like we did a Christmas tree lot, or we did poinsettias and greenery, or here we do Boston butts, and they know exactly what time of year they're coming, so they expect it.
Oh yeah.
And so keep that calendar moving, So
I do appreciate that shout out. And I appreciate you. I've never told you this. A lot of times as an assistant coach, you try to talk with other coaches and that kind of stuff. You have always taken the time, whether we're in Nashville at a clinic, whether it's before a game, to come over and say, "Hey," and that always meant the world for me back when I was 25 years old, even now at 45. So I appreciate you taking the time, Coach.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there that thinks for whatever reason I'm unapproachable, and I'm really not. I'm the easiest person to get along with. I just a lot of times so competitive that I'm in a focus.
It makes it easier for me. I get to talk to you.
I hear you on that. So
thank you. I appreciate
you, brother.
So.
Appreciate it.